Hey. Hi, Kim.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi,
Long time,
Claire.
long time no talk, huh?
I know, right?
I know, I know, I know. Hey, hello, everybody. Hey, Jean, Sandy. Hi, T King. How are you guys? And yeah, no, Sandy, you're keeping yours, girl. I am not taking it. I have subscriber mode on only because a whole bunch of stuff went down again on Twitter, and I just don't feel like putting up with those people, you know. And I figured they don't like me, so they didn't subscribe. So
Right.
they wouldn't come
Their
over
loss.
because
It's
they
their
don't like
loss.
me. They don't like me. It's obvious, from what they're saying on Twitter that they really don't like me very much. So I figured if I had subscriber mode on, then I could actually spare all of you the grief of having to put up with them too. It's bad enough I have to put up with it.
That's
I'm just
right.
trying to I'm just trying to save you all, let you enjoy yourselves over there. Oh, I will, T King. I will. Oh yeah.
And
Okay. Okay, Jen. You don't have to have the spanner. I was just saying I don't want anybody to think, did you just finish watching it, Sandy? Because we're gonna cover it. It was
we are.
it was not as advertised because when it first came out, it was put down as one of the less liked episodes of
Right.
Black Mirror. But I think it aged very well, like a good red wine, because
I
it
think
is
it aged very
very
well too.
appropriate. It is very appropriate for
Oh,
now.
so
And
appropriate.
it was. Oh, it did it bum you out? It did. It did. It did. It was very. There were very sad things, and it was very real. And I can understand why it might bum you out a bit
Yeah,
because yeah, damn, there was just so much. So,
I know.
do,
I tell
do
you
you?
what, though, Claire, with
Mhm.
this one, and Charlie kind of, he kind of does this, he kind of messes with our minds and everything. But this one,
Isn't
I
that
felt
isn't that what we love about Charlie?
it
Charlie,
is what we love about Charlie. But this one, I just felt was nothing but suppositions.
yes, I could agree with that. I could agree with that.
I had, so I had so many what if moments.
What if they did this and what if they did that and what if
Yes.
what and it could have changed a little bit here. I get that. But Charlie does that to me all the let's
Oh,
just
I
be blunt.
know.
Let's just be blunt. I can because it's my show and
You can.
it is over 18 and I do tell YouTube about that and I do tell YouTube that I like to curse a lot. So let me just
Yes.
say the one thing that I absolutely, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I can't think of a better way to say this to get myself completely understood. But what I love about Charlie Brooker the most is he's always fucking with my head. He
Yes.
fucks my brain royally, and I find that very attractive.
He
I
does.
find that extremely attractive, man.
Yes.
That you've got to get me between the ears for. He totally engages my brain, flips it all around, tries to get me to think about things I never would think about before. And I am smitten. I am going to be a Brooker fan for the rest of my life. He does it to me every single episode, every single
I
one.
know. But
Okay.
that is what we love about him.
And I just don't know another way to put it. It's just
That's it. It's a
that's
total
it.
mind fuck.
Just bear style. He totally fucks my brain. He fucks my
Yes.
brain. Yes, he does.
Yes.
There you go.
But I kind of like it.
well, then again, then he does it well. So what can I say? All right, enough of that. No more mayhem. No more.
No
No
more.
more. No more mayhem. It's Brooker time. This is definitely Brooker time. So anyway, but let's start with shall we do a breakdown of the episode first and then we'll go over
Let's do a breakdown.
okay, so let me just give you a little brief thing about what the episode's about. So Smithereens is the second episode of the fifth series. Okay, we're just talking right down from the description back down there from Black Mirror. Of course it's written by Charlie Brooker. The director this time was James Hawes. Okay, it came out in like 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But in this episode, there's a rideshare driver, Chris, and it's kind of like an Uber thing, and he takes
Yes.
hostage an intern named Jaden of the Smithereen Company, which is kind of like a Twitter-esque thing. Okay. It's a
Right.
large social media company and he's making a demand to contact the company's CEO, Billy Bauer, who is played by Topher Grace. And I did not recognize Topher.
Okay,
I
can
did
we
not.
just stop? Can we just stop for a minute and talk about
Okay.
how hot Topher was?
No, not yet. I got to finish this.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We'll come back to Topher. Okay.
Okay.
The
Let's make
episode
sure we do.
we will. We'll definitely. I promise, Kim. I will give you a Topher moment. I'm a
Thank
bear
you.
of her word. I will give you your
Thank
Topher
you.
moment. The episode is inspired by the experience that Brooker had in a car hired by Uber when a driver got out unexpectedly to get a bottle of water. And he also began a story around a person who grieves the loss of a loved one differently when their life is permanently inscribed in social media. Smithereen is similar to the social media website's Twitter, and Bauer was compared to the CEO at the time, Jack Dorsey. Most of the filming took place in England, but Topher Grace's parts were filmed in Spain. The scenes were shot roughly in chronological order, but at Scott's request, because of his inability to drive, it was a challenge for production because, like, Scott was the Uber driver, people.
I know.
Okay?
I love that.
Andrew
He can't even
Scott,
drive.
yeah, Andrew Scott played Chris, and Andrew Scott can't drive, and he's the Uber driver through the whole show. Okay, so the major theme in Smithereens is the power of social media companies and their products' negative attributes, including addictivity. Okay, it received critical reception, but it was also touted as one of the most boring episodes of Black Mirror, which I don't understand. Okay,
I know.
it was nominated for a Primetime Emmy, but reviewers mostly criticized the episode's storyline and its simplicity of its message. So it was ranked poorly compared to other Black Mirror episodes. But anyway, the story goes that Chris, he takes this hostage, Jaden, who he thinks, because he's dressed in a suit, is a big time person over there at Smithereen. Okay.
Yeah.
And he kidnaps him and finds out he's only an intern. Okay. And he gets a little upset by that. Like, everything just goes wrong for Chris. Like,
It was so funny, the
out.
meltdown he had over that.
But it deserved. But anyway, the reason it all comes down to, he wants to talk to Billy Bauer on the phone. Billy Bauer, CEO. And, well, long story short, the whole thing at the end is what's really important, because, of course, the FBI gets involved. Everybody gets involved.
Yes.
There's a kidnapping. He's held for hostage. You're going to kill him. He wants to talk to the CEO. The CEO has to buck against, Topher Grace has to argue against everybody and say, I want to talk to him anyway. Tells everybody he wants to talk to him. Gets him on the phone, and they find out why he wants to do this. Well, he was involved in a car accident. He had his fiancée with him. She was asleep in the car. There was a drunk driver on the road. But lo and behold, he feels responsible because he answered a Twitter notification while driving because he was bored, and he feels he caused the accident, even though the other driver was drunk and everybody died except for him. The driver died in the other car, and his passenger and his fiancée died also. And he is blaming himself because he answered the Twitter notification. So he, then also had the problem of his mother dying around the same time. So he's got trauma on top of trauma. Nothing's going right for him. He feels completely like this is his fault. So he starts investigating, and then he realizes that Twitter, like company called Smithereen, they actually do research to make themselves addictive to people, that they actually run programs to make it addictive. And he starts doing all of this research to find out, how obsessed people are getting and how everybody's lives are on social media and how it's been very bad for people in general. So he starts to blame the company, and he wants to talk to Billy Bauer about it. And he wants to know why he feels he does that. He wants to tell him his personal story, and he wants to then end his life because of it, because he doesn't want to live with the guilt, and he doesn't want to live, with all the sadness anymore, or the responsibility of what happened. So that's where I'm going to leave it. And then we'll get to like the ending, which was weird, which is all kinds of things. Okay, so now let's go back to, yes, Topher Grace is Billy Bauer. Well,
yes.
Kim, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was way hot. And
I never thought
okay.
those words would ever be uttered in my presence, actually, after watching that 70s show. Topher?
Well,
Really?
okay. I've got to give you some backstory here. Okay. When the 70s show first started, I watched the first episode and I was like, "Oh, this Eric guy, I kind of like him." And then I was like, OMG, he
No,
looks
no,
just
no.
like my boyfriend when I was
Oh,
14 years old.
I don't need a man that looks like your 14-year-old boyfriend. And I'm sorry, that's the problem with Topher Grace. He doesn't age. Like, I just forget it. Just forget it. Like, boy, go away. Go
Like
away,
I even
boy.
I even pulled out like I even went and dug out my old yearbook because my husband was
Oh
like,
my. Oh.
it's got to be just the timeline. Or I was like, no, he looks just like him. And I went and pulled out one of my old yearbooks and I showed it to my husband. He's like, oh my gosh, you're right. They could be twins.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
okay. Well, we're not going to fight over Topher. That's for sure.
that's why I
I,
thought he was hot.
you can have him and your 14-year-old
Thank
memories.
you.
You can have
Thank you.
because this like he's a good actor. I liked his acting ability in this. I think he
I
played
did.
Billy Bauer really well. Like
Oh yeah.
he played the woke, overly rich CEO who's trying to give a damn but really doesn't give a fuck really
But
well.
really doesn't.
Really well. Right? I'm telling right? Did I just get that
But
in a nutshell?
I think in a way though he did. I
He
think
did.
there was some true empathy there.
There might have been, but it lasted a hot second because then he
Yeah, it
just like
didn't last long
meditated.
enough.
He just meditated himself right out of it and went right back to status
He
quo.
did. He
That's what
did.
I mean. Like he cared for like a hot second. And
Yeah.
then I'm sorry, he just went right back to and just
Uh-huh.
meditated.
To his little
Those closing
retreat.
scenes. Those closing scenes were terrible. But
Yeah.
listen, this whole thing was wrought with just the fact that social media was taking over everybody's life. Everything they did involved their damn phones. There was a scene where where he wants to get Billy Bauer on the phone. So he goes to the intern Jake and he goes, "So you know someone, right? Like you who do you deal with? Like, right? It's
I
human
was
relations
dying.
lady." He gets Hannah. "Oh yeah, Miss Hannah, we're gonna get her on the phone." He goes, "Okay, call her up." And he gets this look on his face and he's like, "I have the number in my phone." "Okay, well, let's call
Okay,
her
give
up."
me your
He goes,
phone.
"Give me your phone." "My phone?" "Oh, well, that's back in the other car
It's
because
in
they
the other
changed.
car.
It's in the other car that we changed cars back then." He's like, damn. Like, and it's like, thankfully, Chris still had his phone,
Yes,
but it was just like everything
it
involved
did.
technology and phones.
And
Like
I
in the
love the way
beginning,
Chris was like, do you know how to call reception? He's like, I've never had to do that. I've only been there a week.
I know, and it's just like he couldn't have picked the worst person to kidnap for this. Like,
Exactly.
exactly. It was, yeah. It's so, but they did get through, and they do, finally get through to the company and everything. And of course, Billy Bauer being the big CEO executive, he's got like all these people from all over the world working, like big lawyers and PR people, and everybody's weighing in. The FBI is trying to weigh in, and he's like, "I just want to talk to him. I just want to
just
talk to
let
him."
me talk to him. Patch me
Like,
through to him.
yep. And they wouldn't. And he goes, "The hell with you." Right? He goes, "Fine.
Yeah.
I have a laptop. I'll do it my damn self."
Yeah.
Period. And he hang up on all of them, and he just goes.
Did you hear what he called the FBI guy at one point?
No, what did he call? I didn't know.
He was like, "Can we get rid of the agent FBI douchebag?"
Oh yeah. Oh, he wasn't too happy. Yeah, I'm sure.
I
He
was
had feel about
dying.
that. Yeah, that
I
was
kept like
mm,
replaying that because it was so funny.
yeah. I'm telling you, Jin, I don't mind a few decades of experience because I definitely don't want no 14-year like that. I'm totally, that's Kim's thing. Like, it reminded her of her 14-year-old, but I do not want no I don't want even anybody that reminds me of my 14-year-old boyfriend.
Well,
Like, nope, nope, no,
um,
no, no.
yeah,
Yeah,
this 14-year-old boyfriend has aged well.
yeah.
I can say that.
I just don't want to remember all of that. Like, just inexperience and not worth it and just like all that hard. No, give me a man with experience who knows what the hell he wants. A fucking grown up. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
but
No, no,
but
kid.
Claire, he's like the same age as me, so I would think he would have some experience by now.
You would hope so, but not if he's Topher. If he's Topher, he might not, because I'm sorry. It's just no Topher for me, man. Like, there's just something really just not. There's just something not about Topher for me. I can't even say it. And that's rare for the bear. I'll tell you that. Because there's usually a redeeming quality of like every person on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. But
That's true.
not in this area, and not with Topher, for sure. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on to like, okay, so they're trying to get a hold of Billy on the phone, and of course it's about the phone and all of this. That they finally get through. He throws everybody out. He finally gets it on the phone, and they tell him the story. And he's like, of course, trying to give them the mumbo jumbo stuff, like they tell you to say, like, I can relate. I'm really sorry that happened to you. Like, blah, blah.
Right.
And he's like
all the talking points.
He goes like, shut up. I don't want you to say anything. That's what Chris tells him. He says to the CEO, he wanted to hear him. He wanted him to hear the story, but he didn't want his input on it at all. What his point is that you need to take control of your company because you did this. Like, I feel the guilt. I can't live with it because you made me addicted to social media. That was his message to him. Like, why are you letting your company do this? Why are you funding all of these addictive studies? So why do you do this on purpose to people? You're ruining people's lives. You are the devil, basically, he was telling him. And Topher was like, I know, it's out of control. I can't control it anymore. I'm like a figurehead. They don't listen to me. They don't. And he's like, where? I don't care. He's like, that's your problem. Like, I'm like, wow, Chris, like, why did you want to talk to Billy? Like,
I know.
You don't want him to, you want him to hear the story, okay? But you don't want him to say anything. And then when he tries to interject, like, I know what you mean, but there's not much I can do. He's like, well, that's your problem. I don't want to hear about it. Like, it's too bad. Like, you're going to feel bad about it. If I feel bad about this, you're going to feel bad about this, like even worse. It was his way of trying to do something about it, I think. To try to
I think so.
Take control of that uncontrolled feeling he felt like, oh my God, this all happened and I had no control over it because I answered a damn notification on my phone about social media, about a stupid puppy post or something, right? It was he said it was just somebody liked one of my posts and I got a notification. I picked up the phone for 2 seconds while driving and the accident then occurred. And with terrible, terrible results that impacted his life forever. He just can't deal with it. And all he wants to do is have something be done about it in some way. And this is all he could think of was to try to get Billy Bauer to feel just as bad as he does about what's happening over there at Smithereen. But although Billy, I guess, would you think he recognized the problem? I mean, he sounded like it when he started talking to him, right?
When he was honestly talking with him, I think he did. Because he was even talking about how he never wanted it to be like it is. But they just kept telling him, you've just got to keep people getting engaged more and more and more and more. But I don't think he realized it was going to be as huge as it was. Just like I'm sure others who have created similar platforms, they're starting them out thinking, oh, this will be a great way to hang with my friends. And it just grows and grows and grows.
And now he's like, what is he going to do about it? Right. And he's like, And he's like, well, I'm the head of the company, but I can't really like control what they're doing, and admits that they are actively,
Yeah.
he just went right out and admitted it right out there, actively trying to make it more and more addictive.
Yeah, they're
So
getting to
that you,
where
yep.
it hits your
Mhm.
dopamine receptors.
No, exactly. Exactly. I want to put this up. Hold on a second. Ah, Sandy says it reminded me of how Mark Zuckerberg talked about Facebook when he was called out on his algorithms and how toxic that place is. All the platforms have become mind-sucking places. I
It's
really
so true.
I can't disagree with that.
I can't
I
either.
can't, because I do think that we should all, take some responsibility for how much time we allow. I mean, I am on, especially now. I mean, please don't look at my numbers now, because oh my god, I'm spending 8 to 10 hours a day online with the depth trial, like Monday
Right.
through Thursday. Like my numbers online are going to be like triple or quadruple what they were, and they
Oh,
were
yeah.
pretty heavy before because I did a
Yeah,
lot of
mine are
shows
crazy
every
right
day.
now because
Yeah.
of that.
Mm-hmm. But and I know you deliberately did all that misspelling, and that's why I Zuckerberg.
Yes.
I kind of went with it, Sandy. I get you.
Right.
I feel you. I get you. I get
I
you, boo.
know.
But no, I get it. Definitely, I agree. They are purposely trying to do it, and I would say that most of the people, although I see you here on YouTube and we all interact in different ways, I don't see you posting your whole lives. Thank God, most of you are not the kind of people that I go over and I look and I see what you ate for breakfast, what time you took your shower, what you wore today, and what you bought at the supermarket or whatever. Like, it's not like that. Like, I've seen, with some of my younger nieces who put their whole life on
Yeah.
social media, in not a good thing.
No.
Selfies all the time. Like, I don't see a lot of that like around me, like as much, but I do see that we spend a lot of time out here interacting with people more than we used to, much more over the
Mhm.
last 3 years than we used to. I see it rising more and more. And it's because we're missing things in, with the pandemic, and then also just getting more comfortable with not socializing as much out there, because, I don't know about you, but myself, I'm still not comfortable in large crowds or anything with the
I'm not either. I
um
don't like them.
but I think it's like a new phobia that we're all going to be suffering
Yeah.
from.
I
Because,
mean,
and I don't mean to make light of it. I do think it's like it's a serious thing. I do think that it has affected us all on different
oh, it
levels in different
has.
ways, in some manner, you know.
Yeah, that's basically why I stayed home today. I could have
Mhm.
gone and spent Easter with my
Mhm.
daughter and her family, and they were going over to my son-in-law's mother's
Mhm.
home, but there were
Mhm.
gonna be, like, around a dozen other people there,
Oh,
and I was just
you were
like,
keeping it down. So
yeah,
because of
I'm
the
just
amount,
like,
so it was
yeah,
the amount of people. Yeah.
yeah, I
Mhm.
knew that I would not want to be around that many people. I'm like you, I'm not comfortable. A
Mhm.
small group, I'm
Mhm.
fine.
Right.
Like, if it'd been
Mhm.
just my daughter and her family and his mother, I would have been
Mhm.
totally great with it, but
Right.
not that many people. I can't handle.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Well,
would have been, like, in a corner in a fetal position.
I know, and but like, did you do a lot of social media instead? Did you like reach out to people and say Happy Easter or how's your celebration going and
No,
like that? Oh, you didn't. So I want to know
no.
in the chat how many people did that. Like, because I know, like, from my family, because we all didn't like get together, everybody was like doing that on social media back and forth on our phones, catching up with everybody, all the way around. So we spent a little more time on social media doing that.
Well, we
Um,
have a
um,
family Facebook group set up,
mhm.
and
Mhm.
so my daughter went in there this morning and wished everyone, a happy Easter. And I went in and, basically did the same thing. And that's
Mhm.
kind of how you know, everyone in the group just kind of kept posting down. So we
Mhm.
were all able to see it.
Oh, I
And
see. Okay.
that's basically
Hmm.
about all I did.
Yeah. Well, no. So let's talk back in the episode when they're having the conversations, right? And you feel that Billy Bauer was actually being sincere, and I kind of think he was like he was. I don't know if he had it in him to be that sincere. I think when he's talking to you, he wants you to feel like he
He may
hears
be
you.
one of those people that comes across as sincere, but down deep he's just like, how do I
Hmm.
get this person the F off the phone?
Yeah, that's
Let me
it.
just
It
tell
was
them
like
what they want to hear.
yeah, I got to do what I got to do, and then like it didn't really phase him because like he was able to walk away from it so much, and yet, here we're going to get to the ending of this, and thank you for answering, Jenny, because like yes, we did too. We spent a little more time with people on uh, social media. Well, I'm glad you had a good holiday. Oh. But at the end, we're going to get to the end of the kidnapping where he's going to let Jaden go. You realize that Chris, the kidnapper, is going to let the intern go no matter what. He never intended to hurt him or do anything to him. He
Yeah,
wasn't
I
going to
never
do it.
felt like he would.
He was really a nice guy suffering, and all he wanted to
Yeah,
do was talk to Billy Bauer, the CEO, about Smithereen, about the effect of social media on his life and the damage it had done, and how he felt it was done on purpose, that he felt they're doing it with intent, and that they were really needed to get control of themselves over there at their company, and that Billy Bauer should be doing something about it.
right.
So they have the conversation, and Billy is like understanding what he's saying, understanding how he felt, understanding how his company actually could be complicit into what happened. I mean, he admits that they purposely are trying to get you addicted to it so that that little ding sound goes off. What did he say? They actually ran studies on what the sound would actually sound like that would make you the
Yes,
craziest, that you would have to answer the
yes,
phone. Like they actually did studies to
they
make sure that
did.
the sound, the notification was just the right tone. So you had to go look. You had to open up to see why they were trying to get your attention, which was like mind,
It's kind of
just
like
like
Facebook
whoa.
Messenger.
It's kind of like that.
Facebook,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
they have their own tone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so, like, he admits that all of this is there, right, Kim? And then,
He does.
but what are they going to do about it? Like, what do they actually?
Yeah, there's no resolution really.
Mm-mm.
Because,
So
Billy Bauer again, he's like, my hands are tied.
right, I'm just the face in front. I'm
Yeah,
just a
I'm the
figure. He
figurehead.
says I'm a figurehead. I have no power about it. They just do what they're going to do. And
Hmm.
it was very disheartening for Chris, but Chris decides, he's going to let the guy go. Chris has decided he's going to end his life. Okay.
Yes,
Now, after Jaden, you got to remember that Jaden, the kidnappee, the intern, is in the back seat of the car the whole time
the
that
whole
Chris is
time.
talking to Billy, right? And he he relates to the story. He feels really bad for him. Like you could see
He
that he
does.
he knew he wasn't going to hurt him. Like he knew. He said, "Well, look, when he went to put me in the trunk, and I told him I was claustrophobic, he took me out of the trunk and he put me in the back seat." like,
Yeah,
all you could see he was remembering all this stuff.
he
And
was.
eh, he felt for him, and
He
he knew he
developed
was.
a lot of empathy for him.
Yeah. So do you want to tell the ending? Mm-hmm. Or no?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
So he's telling Billy, this is the end, and I just needed to tell you my story, and this is going to be the end. And
Mm-hmm.
it takes Billy a moment, but he's like, wait, no, you're not talking about. And he's like, yeah, I can't go on with this. I cannot go on with life this way.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets off the phone with Billy, then Jaden, the intern, says, don't do it. He's like, you don't know how it messes up people. He said, my uncle did it. And he said, my mom is still not okay. And he was really trying to talk him out of it. But
Mhm.
Chris kept saying, no, I've got to do it. I can't go on living like this.
Mhm.
And then there was a struggle for the gun. And the police superintendent, I forget what title they gave her, but
Yeah.
she was kind of over that little squad of officers.
Mhm. Yeah, she was in
And
charge. Mhm.
she was talking to one of the snipers, and she gave them the go ahead if they had a clear shot.
Mhm.
And the female sniper said that she did have a clear shot. Oh, before that, let me backtrack. I'm sorry, I forgot something so critical. Billy asked if there was anything he wanted that he could do for him. And he
Mhm.
said, do you know the guy that heads up Persona? Because he had met a woman in grief counseling whose daughter she had lost by daughter taking her own life. And she was trying to get into her Persona account, but kept getting locked out because she didn't know the password and they wouldn't give it to her. And so Chris asked Billy if he knows the head of Persona, and Billy says that he does. So around this time, Jaden and Billy are starting to struggle for the gun, and
Mhm.
it ends up being pointed at Jaden. It ends up getting pointed at Chris, and the sniper's got her finger on the trigger, ready to pull the trigger. And the lady he met in grief counseling got the password for Persona and is
Mhm.
typing it in. And
Mhm.
as she hits the enter on the keyboard, everything kind of goes black and you hear the gunshot.
Yeah. And you don't actually, and it's the
You don't
second shot
know.
because the first shot comes through and wings him in the arm while they're
Right.
fighting for the gun, so they're both
It's that
alive.
second shot.
But it's the second shot that you don't know because they're still struggling now because he still wants to
Yeah.
kill himself, even though he's shot in the arm, and Jaden
Right.
still doesn't want him to. And they're struggling again, and his second shot goes. And then this
Yeah.
is the creepiest, and this is the part from the
It
whole
was,
thing that gets me.
yeah.
Once she hits that enter, she gets the password. He's done the one thing. He released her
He
from the
did.
torture of every day trying to figure
Right.
out the
She would,
password 3 times.
yeah. And
And
she would be able
every
to
day
look at her
she was
daughter's account
doing this.
again.
And, every day she was going through this since she died, trying to get in there because she just wanted answers on why her
On
daughter did
why.
what she did. And she needed social media to do that. And social media had locked her out. So it was
Yeah.
a there was a big message there too. Like if you live your whole life on social media and then you don't have it, like it's going like if that's where everything is and you don't have access to it anymore, like what
Yeah.
that can do to everybody else. Like your mother didn't know what was going on with you because only
Right.
social media did. Like because you weren't talking to anybody, you were just on social media. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot to be said there about what
There
was going on with
was.
the mother and the daughter and his relationship with them.
Yeah.
Um yeah, yes, Sandy, it was a pretty crapper sniper too because she grazed him in that second shot.
I know.
Hmm. I
And
know,
you
and
would
and,
think
and that's the part, Sandy, right there that we're getting to. After she hits that button and that shot rings out, and they don't let us know who's
they
fine in the car.
don't.
We don't
No.
know if Jaden walked out. We don't know if Chris is gone. We know Chris wants to
Mm-mm.
be gone. We know Jaden was intended to be let free. His arms are free. He could have got out of the car.
Right?
We don't know who got injured in that thing.
No.
We just know that everyone's notifications going off from Smithereen all
Yeah.
over. Now there are pan shots, and this was great cinematography. They go to
It
all
was.
kinds of notifications in
Yes.
businesses, walking down the road, driving, playing basketball, kid, teenager, every age group you can think of. Everybody's phone's going off. They just take one look, they look at
Yeah.
it, and they put it down.
They look at it and they swipe it
Not,
and they go on
I,
with life.
not even a 2 seconds. This
No.
someone just had a tragic end. And
Yes.
I and the Smithereen notification, it was 2 seconds. That's all they paid attention to it. Here
Yeah.
and gone. Just like when Jack, the CEO, Topher, Billy Bauer,
Uh-huh.
just carries on and just goes and meditates.
Goes back and meditates again.
After he sees it, of course, it pops up on his laptop too for 2 seconds.
Right?
And he goes and just sits down and meditates. And like he did in the beginning, like at the very beginning of the episode, was him meditating, wasn't it? Like
Yeah,
it
it
was his
was.
eyeball breathe. And it was just so disheartening that we are so desensitized to the tragedies of in real life, of the things that really affect us in real life, for when they're playing out on social media and we just like swipe like over like it's like nothing.
Yeah. But
That
how many
hits
times do we do
hard.
that in real life? Like, I know I'll scroll like my Twitter feed and I'll be like, oh, I'll go back and I'll read it later. I'll read that one later. And I
Mm-hmm.
never do. But it's like, I just kind of glance at it. I know I
Mm,
myself do that.
mm. It's so hard. I mean that's why I think the episode in the beginning didn't get as much critical review. They said it was an easy because if you go back then when it first came out, maybe we weren't so decent. Maybe we weren't as
Right.
desensitized as we
Because
are now.
you
You
got
know.
to think that was pre pandemic.
Hmm. Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. Well
yeah.
before. Oh yeah. Well
Yeah. And
before.
we probably
Yeah.
weren't engaging as much as we
Right.
are now.
And but even just but it's not so much the engagement that bothers me as the desensitized
The
to the situation.
desensitization.
Just to look at
Exactly.
something like that, and it was like they didn't even read it, and it was just like, oh, and just like as if it
Yeah.
happens every day, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's the quantity of what we're seeing and how much of it we see that is making us
Right.
so desensitized. Not so much what it is, but actually the amount
But
that
the
we are actually
quantity.
exposing ourselves to every day that is like, making us much less
Right.
responsive to, because they didn't even respond. Like that's what really got me. Like
They
nobody was
didn't.
actually responding. They were just
No.
looking and putting it away.
And
And
putting it
like,
down.
and I'm trying to remember, well, how many things do I see that are of the news and of tragedies like this and things that are happening that maybe I don't really read. I just like whoop,
I know
go
it.
right
It
over.
made me think
You know.
about it. And I actually was a little bit more aware of
Mm-hmm.
my Twitter timeline today, of
Mm-hmm.
what I do have on there
Uh-huh.
and what I look at and probably read and open up to see all of the other
Mm-hmm.
posts and everything, and things where I'm just like, read a few lines and I'll scroll on down.
Right,
It
right.
made me think about that a lot more. And I
Mhm.
realized I'm so guilty of that. And I
Yeah.
do need to be more aware
Mm-hmm.
of everything, not only on Twitter, but even, watching TV. I mean, I'm bad about not watching. Like, if I see something scrolling at the bottom, I don't really pay attention to it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it could be telling me where I live that I've got, you know, a Cat 5 hurricane coming my way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I might not find out until it's too late for me to get out.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to make myself much more aware.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just we see so much of it that we're desensitized. Really, I don't know how much more aware we can make. We got to focus on certain things, but not everything. Like I
Right.
wouldn't
Not
want to
everything.
make it. I won't want to be so aware of everything that's going out there. I'll tell you that because there's a lot
No.
you don't really want to get involved with or any of that. That's not the message. The message is
Right.
not to be desensitized to some of the terrible things that we see. I mean, this was a tragedy and it was just pushed aside like it was
Yeah.
nothing, you know. And
Yeah.
like
It was
like Sandy
horrible.
says that, good old Billy went back into God mode because he was on a retreat. He's supposed to be there
Right.
for a few days and he's all like meditating and getting him grounded and everything. And you know,
Uh huh.
he himself was on a social media break,
He
so
was.
so to speak,
And
because he was
apparently
out in
he
the
goes
middle of
on these a
nowhere.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he knows how important that is to
Yeah.
escape and get away.
Hmm. So why didn't it mean so much to him when he heard Chris's story? Like, why was it just like, oh, well, there's like, I know, and there's nothing I can do because that's what the company is. Well, then why are you running a company? Like, sell it, walk
Right.
away. Like, why? Like, it, there's got to be something you can do. You are the biggest stockholder in it. Like, come on, if you really wanted to, right? You know,
Exactly.
wow.
He could. He could easily walk away. But then I got thinking, is he actually like a 51% or greater? Or
I
is
don't
he
know.
below a 50%? And the stockholders, the shareholders hold
Hmm.
majority? Because
You know.
that's the case in a lot of it,
Hmm.
is that
Yeah,
your
but
shareholders actually hold a majority.
hmm but that's mm, even that. So he doesn't try. He doesn't try to persuade the. Even if he's not the final vote, why not try to persuade
I
them that it's
know.
the right thing to do? Why not make a campaign? I mean, he knows how to use social media. He's running the damn company. He couldn't start a campaign against
Exactly.
his own company. Like, come on,
Right?
to do the right thing, right? Come on. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty, that he could do. But I also know that it would be very difficult for people. All of us are not going to walk away from something like Twitter,
No.
um, based on
But
that.
then again, it's like, what could he do actually? Because you can't, you couldn't, like, there's no way to put a limit. Like, oh, you've reached your 2 hours for the day.
No, that's true.
No
It is
more
up
for
to the
you.
individual.
You know,
But what about making it so addictive? Like, do they have to do that? Do they have to make it like you don't have, like, they're actively trying to make you do
they
more
are.
and more. Like, what if they just stopped that? Like, you don't do anything
Right.
else to the platform except for just stop that part. Get rid of the addictive things that you're doing. Like, you're
Yeah.
purposely trying to make us spend more and more time on there. Um,
Right.
it would, and just let us choose, willingly how much, and not take advantage of people.
Right.
Um, but then maybe it's too late. Once it starts.
Yeah. It's like, are we already past that point?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and that's okay, Mrs. Cassandra, because although they was really speaking about a company very much like Twitter, they compare Smithereen to Twitter often. It's actually all social media platforms. It's the same, like especially Instagram with my nieces or TikTok. It's all about selfies and this, that, and the other thing, and
Right.
posting their whole life and checking what their friends are doing constantly, and it's quite obsessive,
Yeah. I used
so,
to be
it's
far
it's
more,
not just Twitter. Yeah.
yeah, I used to be far more active on my personal
Hmm.
Instagram. And unfortunately, I have not been active hardly at all on my Instagram for my business. And that's the one I really need to engage more on.
Hmm. No,
And
well,
I just
so,
really have problems making myself do it.
well,
And I
that's a
don't know
problem.
why.
Why do you do the social one and not the business one? Like,
I don't even really do the social one that much anymore.
hmm
I'm hardly
well,
on Instagram at all anymore.
hmm
Same with Facebook. I'm
hmm
hardly on Facebook anymore.
when I was doing research for my library chat with bearded bearded heretic. Sorry. I'm so sorry, Luke. I didn't mean to mangle that. I'm just tired. Bearded heretic. It We were doing it on narcissism and social media. So I was reading a
Right.
lot of psychological studies that they did. And Facebook is still the number one platform out there. Did you know that?
I
Like, I
know.
was surprised because
I
I
was
don't even use
too.
it anymore. But it is a diehard. That, along with yes, I would think that YouTube live chat is considered a social media. I
I
would.
think so.
It is an interactive platform,
It
YouTube,
is.
because I'll tell you what, because Facebook came in number one and YouTube was right behind it as
Mhm.
linked to Facebook right there, because almost everybody that used Facebook used YouTube. that
Right.
they linked the two of them together quite strongly into and mostly in the over 35 age bracket. So there you go. It was 35 and above that were
Uh-huh.
concentrating on Facebook and YouTube. So means it was
Yeah.
an older platform that people kind of stayed with and were comfortable
Mhm.
with, and I think that YouTube can get toxic, but I don't find it to be anywhere near as toxic as a lot of the other places, like
Yeah.
Twitter
I
for
don't
one.
either. Yeah.
Um, Instagram is not at all for me because I only use it for the channel advertising anymore. So
Uh-huh.
it's not very toxic at all that way. But and this is a good say. I'm going to put this up, Sandy, because you are so right. Use the tools. Don't let the tools use thee. That is
Exactly.
that is a perfect little statement. It doesn't matter what it
It
is.
is.
That is perfect. They can be as toxic as you let them be. I mean, some things you can't help, but you can walk away. Like you don't have to participate. I mean,
You
things are going to
can.
go on. I mean, I know I'm like right in the middle of something, and I can't. There's nothing I can really. Mm,
And
anyway, I don't want to talk about that.
you know,
But
yeah, I've learned recently also for myself on Twitter that unfollow button, it works really well.
yeah, you
And
could do that.
now
You
that
could do that.
yeah,
Mhm,
now that I'm
mhm,
not seeing certain things,
mhm,
I feel much more comfortable on there. I'm not as stressed out.
mhm. Right.
So
Well,
for me, that's
yeah.
worked very well, just cleaning up who I'm following.
Well, there. Yeah, that's some way of or that you could take control of it. That's
Hmm.
fantastic. Well, let's talk about the Easter eggs. Did you find Easter eggs? I found some Easter egg. Oh my god!
I found
Because
one or two.
one or two. Oh my god! Listen, this one's all about social media. So it's a whole bunch of laptops and phones. And you guys know
Yes.
with Black Mirror, whenever there's a laptop or phone, right? There's like tickers that go across the screen. And,
Oh,
and like you got to look at the follow lists and who they're talking to on the phone. And oh my God, it was so much about that. But
yeah.
before we do the Easter eggs, there was a foreshadowing moment before this episode even came out. There was Bandersnatch, okay? And in
Yes.
Bandersnatch, they kind of foreshadowed a little bit about this episode because there was a ticker that went across a
Yes,
ticker
there
story
was.
that said the committee grills the Smithereens CEO Billy Bauer over Russian bots, and that was like the
Uh-huh.
news feed that was going like over across
Yes.
the thing on the bottom, and that happened during Bandersnatch, and Bandersnatch apparently came out before this episode, so
Before
now they're
this one.
right, and so now they're trying to say that this episode is actually prior to Black Museum too, as far as timing. What do you think?
I think it is. Big
Even though they say that the error for Black Museum is 20 is like was before. I don't think so anymore. Now that I
No,
saw the
I don't
episode.
think so
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. Mm.
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Hmm. So you want to go
Okay.
with some of the ones that you found? Because you're like the Black Mirror Easter egg queen. So
There were so many. I was actually telling Claire earlier that I watched it like I'd seen it, eons ago. And I went back, I watched it yesterday morning just for content, just kind of refresh it in my brain because I forget things. I'm a boomer, I'll admit it. I forget
mhm.
things. And I mean, okay, people, this is a girl that fell into a dog kennel not long ago. And yes, I do have some
I
bruising under one eye.
it was
Claire
a,
has seen the
she's
picture.
she's just a little clumsy, just
Just a
a little
little
bit,
clumsy. Yes.
just a little bit. But thank goodness
Um,
you were okay. But yeah,
I was
true
fine.
story. Hmm.
I'm fine. Yes. But I did shoot Claire the picture of it so she could see that, yeah, I was bruised up.
Hmm.
Um, but I was telling her, I went back because I was like, oh, there's cell phones, there's big screens, there's going to be Easter eggs. So I had it on my TV and I had it on my phone going at
Hmm.
like the same time. And I'd be like pausing one and looking at the other and trying to enlarge. And I was basically going frame by frame. there
Well,
was that many.
there are that many because he's an Uber driver. Okay.
Yes.
And so Chris,
So,
like just the amount of places that came up on the phone that
oh
he
my
had to go
gosh.
by, like just the street, there was Skillane Street, like Victoria
Skillane Street
Skillane,
for Victoria
okay,
Skillane.
right? And that's from White Bear, right? And then,
Yes.
oh my gosh, do you want to
And
do
then,
people or do you want to do locations? Go.
okay,
Which,
let's do locations because on
okay,
the map on his phone, there
yeah,
was Spence's Pizza, which is in Crocodile, that we
right.
haven't covered yet.
Mm-hmm.
There was Bandersnatch Theater.
Yes, there was. Yeah, I had that one too. Cool.
There
Go
was
ahead.
Redfield Theater for Cooper
Yeah.
Redfield from Playtest.
Yep. From
There
playtest.
was
There you go.
a bar called Huke's Bar, HUQ
Oh,
apostrophe S.
that's Brooker's wife,
That's
Connie
Brooker's
Hugh.
wife.
Oh yes. Good catch. Good catch. Good catch, Kim. You get a gold star. You get a gold star for that one. Okay.
That's all the places I saw.
Oh, I've
I
got
don't
some
think I
more.
have any others. Do
Oh wait.
you?
Yes. What about Sato Gemo, the arcade that came up
Oh, Sato Jimbo.
from
I forgot to write
Playtest?
that one
Yes.
down.
What about
Yes.
Arquettes from Men Against Fire? That was in there too.
Oh,
And
that was.
also the stripper cocktail bar from Men Against Fire was in there too. Yeah.
I missed
There
that one too.
a restaurant called Raymond's and Doll's Shoes, and both of those are from the museum and from
I did see
Cracker.
doll shoes, and I forgot
Yeah.
that was from the
Okay.
museum.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So those are the places. Oh, but there's also two mentions as far as tech companies that come up at the advertisings in the big building when you go
Yes.
inside Smithereen.
There's
And there was Sato, the video game
Sato
complex for
Jimo,
Sato Jimo, and Tucker, the tech giant from
Tucker.
that was the tech giant from San Junipero. So
Right.
and the both of those were advertised as big things inside the building on the bottom of
Yes.
the thing when you went in. Now we got all the people that were on the phone. These were some popular
Oh my
phone.
gosh.
Okay, all of the people that were in Chris's phone and in Jaden's phone and everybody else's phone.
Yeah, and this is where I know I missed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so on
Bandersnatch Theater, is that a great place for a ventriloquist show? Yes.
Isn't that great?
It is. It is. I can't wait for you to come and watch that episode with us, kid.
So the employee that when Hannah was speaking, or Penelope, I'm sorry, Penelope. Her name was, I believe, Hannah. Mm-hmm. Her first listing on her phone was Abby Khan.
Was Abby Khan from 15 million merits. Okay, yes, I had her too.
Now, she also had Jamie Salter from Waldo.
Yep.
Carlton Bloom from National Anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton Lee from Black Museum.
Yes.
Daly from USS Callister.
Yes.
Hector from Shut Up and Dance.
Yes.
Kelly from San Junipero.
Yep.
Kenny from Shut Up and Dance.
Mm-hmm.
Martha from Be Right Back. Cooper from Playtest.
Yeah, she did have Cooper. I did see
Cooper
that,
from Playtest. Lacey from Nosedive. And Michael Callow. That was all I caught.
Okay, well, that was quite a few because I also got them on Chris's phone and on Jaden's phone. And the only ones that I'm going to add for you are Naomi Blesto, which was Nosedive. That is Lacey's friend.
That's Lacey's friend.
Okay. Nate Packer from USS Calipers was on the ride share for Chris. We also had Carlton Bloom from National Anthem. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And when the news thing broke up on the phone, it said something about Prime Minister Callow was on the ticker.
Yes.
And I don't recall what the message was, but I did see his name.
There was one, like I saw it on the big screen when they had the big screen on the receptionist desk. Mm-hmm. And there was something about Callow. Where do I have it here? Oh, it said Prime Minister Callow to meet with EU negotiators in Brussels.
Oh, okay. So you got the message. I just saw like
Uh-huh.
I missed the rest of it. I just got the name.
And then
But
to the
yeah.
side of that,
Mhm.
there was hashtags that said hashtag oink oink callow, hashtag
Oh, no, no, no.
hashtags hashtag snout rage.
Snout
Hash,
rage. Wait,
yes,
snout rage. That's pretty good. Snout rage. That
hashtag yeah,
wow.
hashtag Sato Jumo announcement, hashtag Sato X Netflix,
Mhm.
hashtag Saint Juniper, which is the
Uh-huh.
hospital.
Right, right. Mhm.
And it was
Yeah,
yeah,
where
it was
they mhm.
hashtag Saint Juniper strike, and then hashtag delete persona, and there was something about Carl Payne, but I didn't get that, and I kept thinking, is that the Carl from Striking Vipers?
I think it is the Carl from Striking Vipers. I don't remember if his last name was Payne,
Okay,
but that's the only Carl I remember.
that was
I
the only
do.
one I knew too.
Yeah, that's the only one I know. And I love
Yeah,
that. I love that episode.
I know, I
That's where
know.
my VR fantasy started. And
Now,
we got
you know, okay, like you know how they brought up Chris's word cloud, like
yes.
just looks like a
Mhm.
jumbled thing. He had Space Fleet from Callister.
Uh-huh.
Um, he had 2014 Wipe, which is a nod to Brooker
Right. It
because that
is
was one of his little shows he did.
it's a
Um,
little thing. Yeah.
hmm
Not many
He
people
had
would catch that. You are a Brooker fan because not that many people would catch that. Like that's obscure. Like that's not popular. That is not a popular show. Okay. Not
no,
everybody
it's
even
not.
knows it's there, you know?
He had Michael Callow and Victoria Scalane all in his word cloud.
Okay. Well, he sure had the worst of the worst up there, didn't he?
He did.
He
He
did.
did.
Okay, but the whole thing, because it was so social media, phones, tablets, computers, like everything, we knew there were going to be 9 million names everywhere because Brooker likes to do this. He just likes to like throw this all over. They have fun. There were also, and I gotta remember where I saw it, but there were several people that actually work for Brooker that they threw their names in there
Yes,
too. And I
they
can't
kept.
remember who they were,
There
but I
were a
think
lot.
one of
There
them was
were.
Matthew and somebody else.
Oh, there
Some names
was.
that we see over and over again, and I'm
Yes,
trying.
like some of the art directors and cinematographers and some of the,
Mhm,
smaller producers and um, costumers and things like that.
mhm. Well,
Did you see the
hello.
headline on, I believe it was down in reception, where it said bee population in decline?
No.
Yes, because that was a
Oh.
nod to Hated in the Nation
Oh, okay. So there you
with
go.
the drone bees.
Oh. Oh, well, those bees are my nightmare. You know that, yes?
I
Oh,
do.
hey, autistic Shell, how are you? You know what? We're almost out, so don't get crazy. You're going to end up on the
No,
replay crew because we're
yeah.
almost. Don't go too nuts. But I'm glad you came by. And hello, Joe Black is here. Joe Black is here. Okay,
Joe
that's my.
Black.
I like the way that says.
Now,
Welcome, welcome.
I
Yeah,
I
but
also noticed there was on the headlines, Prime Minister seeks confidence of the cabinet.
yeah, well, it's a little late for that since
I
snout
know.
rage and all that.
Yeah. And
I'm
then there
kind.
was one.
That hashtag is cracking me up. Like, where was
It
that
was great.
hashtag?
I
Where
was
was that
dying.
hashtag when we did
It was.
the episode? Where was that
I
hashtag? Like,
where
come
was
on.
it? We could have used that.
I know that would have
There was
that would have
one that
got me
said,
through.
yeah, there was another one that said, introducing cookie clone from your data.
From your data. Okay,
Uh-huh.
in cookie clone from your data. Okay,
Like
so
in White
they were having
Christmas,
fun.
the
They were having
cookies.
a lot of
Oh, they were
yeah,
having so much fun.
yeah. They
Then
put a lot in.
On Chris's phone, I saw hashtag cubicle living, which was 15 million merits.
15 million merits for
He
sure.
had
Yeah.
again the Sato Netflix one. Then he
Yep.
had hashtag Ashley O Wembley.
Oh yeah, yeah. From Ashley and Jack.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Okay.
And he
All right.
had the delete persona. He had one that was hashtag Tucker.
Oh, okay.
And
There
then
you
he
go.
also had the hashtag St. Juniper Strike.
Okay, because the hashtag Tucker, that's from the tech giants from San Juniper, and San Juniper
Right.
Strike is the hospital where they would get everybody signed up for this stuff, right? That was also
Exactly.
a wonderful VR episode for me was San Juniper. To be in your
I
best
love that
body
one.
in the best era of your life, like just imagine your 25-year-old
I
hot
know.
body with all your knowledge and everything going back to whatever decade like of
Yeah,
your life was the best and just reliving your life any way you want.
exactly.
That's a dream. That's almost as
Um,
good as my VR dream, like in Striking Vipers, where I can
did
be
you
anything I want. Yeah.
did you catch also when Penelope, before they first contacted her, and she's jogging, and it says Los Gatos, California?
Hmm.
That's where Netflix headquarters is at.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, now that one I have not seen in any article anywhere. That's a good tidbit. This is why she's so good. You see this?
I don't.
I
I let all of this useless trivia live rent free up in my head.
she was gonna say, well, you're gonna have to make room because we're gonna do another episode next week. So you're
That's
gonna have to
why.
let some of this out because you're gonna
That's
have to
why.
fill it up with more
That's
next
why I
week.
tell
Yeah.
people it is a
Okay.
scary place up in my head. You don't want to get up in there because it's just scary with a lot of useless trivia.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Um,
Like we don't have a lot of people here to vote, but I was wondering if we want to do uh you know, I don't know how many Brooker fans we actually have here to do an actual Brooker a Black Mirror trivia just to see how much everybody actually know. Kim and I just recently took a Brooker
we
test and
did. It was
we did not.
hard.
It was hard. We didn't
It
really
was
do very well.
it was
We let
30
Charlie down.
questions.
We let Charlie down. Like Kim
Yeah.
did better than I did. I'll admit. I got 8 wrong out of 30. And I let Brooker down. I know why he's not calling me now.
And I yeah,
He's like he ever would. Like he ever
I
would.
know. I
But
missed 3. Yeah,
yeah,
I missed
yeah.
3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it
And
killed me to miss
and
3.
and she felt bad. She only missed 3. Like it's 1% wrong out of all of it.
That
And she felt
that like
bad. Like,
killed
yeah,
me.
yeah. I know.
Okay, I have a couple more things. Like
Go
we
ahead.
can get them to see if they want to do like a Brooker trivia. Um okay, where do I have it? Just a minute. Let me find it. I told you my notes are all jumbled.
Hmm.
Um did
I'm
you
with you,
notice,
Sandy. I don't remember names. I don't remember dates. I'm like the worst.
and this was a lot of names, and that's what got me. That and how Rolo passed away. Rolo Haynes. I still don't
Okay.
agree with that answer. Um, but did you notice all of the eyes throughout the whole thing? Just the
What?
focus on the eyes,
No. Why?
like with the cinematography, and then even the song Frankie Valli's "Can't Take My Eyes Off of You" while he was on hold. Because we're so
Oh,
addicted. We're
we're so
always
because we're
yes.
always looking.
Because our
I
eyes
did.
are always
Wow.
yes.
You know what? Every time he was in the car driving, all they did was focus on his eyes the whole time.
Yes.
And Topher, like when he was meditating and when we was talking, like everything was
Well,
his eyes.
and
You're
the
right.
opening scene showed one eye of Chris, and the very last scene showed the opposite eye of
Oh,
Billy.
Billy, right.
Hmm. And
Well, what
what
do you
I
think that
really,
means now? Now you got me thinking about it. What does that
I
mean?
know.
What? Like, can't leave me hanging here. Now I got eyes all over
Well,
me. Come on.
I think a lot of it just shows that we don't see the world around us. We see the world
Exactly.
through our phone or a tablet or a laptop. We're not really looking at the world around us.
There
And
you go. He
that
was
was
telling us how
something,
blind social media is
yes,
making us
we need
blind.
to
Yeah.
open our eyes more.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All right. I,
The
s- I get you, Brooker. I
yeah,
get you, Charlie.
with the
Mm.
cinematography, okay, the colors inside of the Smithereens building were kind of a bright green and gray. And if you noticed, nearly everything was green and gray.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So everything was tied back to Smithereens
Yeah,
through the cinematography.
it
And
was.
I did also notice that Hannah, her outfit that she was wearing when Jaden called her,
Mm-hmm.
was the exact same colors used on the police cars: silver,
Yeah,
yellow, and blue.
yeah, everything was. Yeah, they were. There was everything all like kind of matched
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it
You're
was
right.
weird
Yeah.
how they did that with the cinematography this time.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of
Good night.
strange for me.
Good night. Good night, Sandy. And yes, don't sleep
Good
with your
night,
electronic.
Sandy.
Thank you
No.
very much for being here, Sandy. It's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
did you have any big what if moments?
what if? No.
Yes.
I had big like um the ending, kind of the way they did the cinematography. I really admired how they really portrayed that silently and so quickly,
Yeah,
and how impactful it was to go from
right.
scene to scene with everybody just swiping their phone real quick with the
Yeah,
notification about this tragic loss of life, or whoever it is, about the hostage situation, this whole big
yeah,
kerfuffle thing that was going on, and everybody's just swiping, and that kind of really hit me.
yeah.
I
It
had
kind of
an
shows that if it
emotional,
doesn't affect us personally, we just swipe
yeah,
on
we
by.
just could, yeah, like all totally desensitized, and like that's not the world I want to live in. So
No.
that kind of really stuck with me.
Yeah.
You know, it was an uncomfortable scene for me.
Uh huh.
Also, when he's telling the story about the car accident, I mean, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. That was kind of one of my what if moments because, yes, he took his eyes off the road for a few
Mm-hmm.
seconds. And we always
Mm-hmm.
say a few seconds. It's probably actually longer that our eyes are off the road. But the other driver also was impaired. So my big thing is it could it could have happened anyway.
It could have, but he because he
But I can
wasn't
understand.
looking,
Yeah,
he is never going to feel like that, because
he's never going to feel that way.
he's going to always think he could have turned the car if he just saw it a
Oh
little bit
yeah,
sooner. He could have got out of the guy's way.
yeah.
Like there's the guilt. Like he loved
And
her, and
that's where I could really relate with him because I've had those moments with loved ones. Like, I mean, not well, almost to that extent. I almost feel like had if I had noticed maybe symptoms in my husband sooner, maybe I could
hmm
have made him go to the hospital a day or two
yeah.
sooner and he'd still
And
be with. I what if that all the time.
yeah, but what ifs, like we all know, like what ifs
Yeah,
are their exercises in you know almost
yeah,
fantasy, because you're never really going to know. There's
right.
nothing, um what's done is
Yeah,
done. All we can do is learn from it and move
uh
forward.
huh.
And like I feel for him, like I can
Oh, I do
imagine,
too.
you
I
know
can't imagine living with that guilt. I
yeah,
honestly
yeah.
can't.
Mhm.
And my other one was about the ending, like, what happened in the car.
Mhm.
So Jaden and Chris are struggling with the gun. We see it being pointed at Jaden. We see it being pointed at Chris. We see the sniper with her finger on the trigger, and we hear the explosion. And this is kind of where my mind, as far as firearms and everything, kind of went. Like, we don't know if either one of them ended up walking out of that car.
No, we don't. Like they could have both passed, or one of
Uh
them,
huh.
one or the other, or none. I mean, she was
Or
a bad
none.
shot. She missed the first time. And she was aiming
Okay,
for his head, and she got the lower part of his shoulder.
I will give her credit. The firearm they were using is not the best sniper rifle at all.
But what I'm saying is like that what if is like they purposely did that to us that we're never going to know. There's
They
like
did. We'll never know.
every possible scenario that you can think of.
Yeah.
Well, who makes it out or doesn't make it out of that car? Like
Uh-huh.
we're never going to know. Now the
I
intent
know.
was that Jaden should be left free. The intern should have been left free, but he chose to stay in that car to fight with him to save
Uh-huh.
the other guy's life. And
Yeah.
so now I'm wondering, is that the moral of the story? Don't be a good Samaritan,
Right.
because
I almost feel like it was Chris that didn't make it. And the reason I say that is because when the lady that was sent up there to find Chris shows him the laptop and he reads it, his head just kind of drops.
mm-hmm.
Like
Because
he
he
went
knew it
ahead.
was coming. He
Yeah,
knew
like
he knew
he
he was
did it
going to do it.
like he did it anyway. I feel like his reaction would have been bigger had it been Jaden.
Really?
I
Because
do.
he seemed resigned either way. Like, you know what I mean?
And then when they went to the lady that was over all of the other officers, when
Right.
she pulled down those binoculars, because she was viewing everything through binoculars. So when she pulled those down, you could almost see her smile lines lift.
Almost. I did see almost a smile.
Uh-huh.
And that would mean that they got their
That they
target.
got him. Uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay. Did you notice the crack in the windshield from the very first shot looked a
Yeah,
lot like the Black Mirror logo?
I did, doesn't it? Like they do that to me
It
all the time.
does.
Yeah,
It just
I
didn't
was
have
like,
the little smiley
yeah,
face on it.
it just didn't. Good
I was
thing,
like,
because that would be
oh,
creepy. That
I
would
was
be
like,
creepy
it
if
would be
it was
creepy. I
like,
was like, oh,
yeah,
good one, Charlie. Good
yeah.
one.
Okay.
Plug your
I don't
own
know.
show.
Yeah. Well, as he should. I mean,
Get your
really.
logo in there.
Like speaking, good segue, Kim. Speaking of plugging your own show, tomorrow morning, I shall be joining Auditing the Absurd again over on Ranty's channel, Auditing the Absurd, at 8:30 in the morning instead of 9:30. We're going to be starting earlier on our trial coverage of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation case in Fairfax County. Live again all day. And then in the evening, again with John Benet, Unsolved Murder, Part 4, we'll be doing.
Yes.
And that'll be at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And so it's good to big day tomorrow.
Yes.
But
And if y'all have not gone over to Ranty's channel
he's
and
so much
listened
fun.
to him
Yeah.
and Claire
Mhm.
on this case, they are both amazing. I mean,
Well, thank you.
I'm working, so I have like one ear with an earbud and the other one open
Mhm.
so I can hear my work phone. But
Mhm.
I'm there listening, and they're breaking things down so well. So
Mm.
I'm just very proud of the both of you, Claire.
We
It's
both
been
have a strong interest in the
yes,
equality of rights that are going on in this
yes,
trial.
I do
And
too.
I'm trying very hard not to be as biased as I am on my own channel. Like when I do the recap at the end of the week with Mandy on Thursday nights after all week, and we don't hold back on Amber at
No,
all. But
you don't.
there's also if you want to know more about why Ranty would be covering this like 4 days a week, 8 hours a day, that's a big commitment for somebody
It
who doesn't
is.
do this kind of coverage. He does
Yes,
have a video out. He
he
came out
does,
with
and
his own
it is
story of how
wonderful.
this happened to him and why he feels so personally connected to the issue and everything. And that is also on his channel if you want to give that a look too. Because
Yeah,
he does feel personally connected. And when I met and I talked to him, and after he found me, picked me up out of obscurity, or to do this with him, it was because of my also how strongly I come out about wanting equality for men and women on this issue, that it isn't just a woman's issue. It is a man and a woman's
It's
issue,
not.
and men just get ignored about it, and it's not fair.
They
So
do. And
yeah, so
I can
I'm
speak out
I'm
as a
loving it.
survivor myself, and it's not
Hmm.
fair.
No, and
I just want
no,
equality for survivors.
no, you're not a bad solo mod, Mrs. Cassandra. I had it up already on my tab. That's why I did it. You're not a bad mod at all.
Miss Cassandra,
You're
you're
not
so
bad.
good.
Don't talk
We
about
love
yourself like that.
you.
Yeah, we'll have to
We
get
love
on you.
you.
We'll have to get on
That's
you if you do
right.
that. Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's where I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be doing, for a couple of days on that. And I'm loving it because it's legal, and I love the legal. So it's keeping me going, and it's keeping me out of trouble. It is making me a little more tired than usual. I don't have my 9,000 streams. Oh, stop with that. Oh, you're a terrible mod, Rodent? Okay. Well, you're somebody else's terrible mod. You're not my terrible mod, so that's cool.
No.
But I don't think you're a
No.
terrible mod anyway. Nobody's a terrible mod. But
No.
anyway, so on that, I think we're going to end. We're well over our hour that we usually do, but I had
I
fun.
know. I did
Thanks for all the
too.
Easter eggs, and I hope you guys enjoyed
Thank
it.
you,
Thanks for
Claire.
hanging out with us.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you,
hanging out with
chat.
us. Thank you for contributing, chat, and hanging out with us. And I could do this if you guys are here. You're not here. Like, I just like to talk about Charlie Brooker.
Claire and I would just talk to ourselves.
We're just trying to get Charlie to contact us. It ain't working.
That's
but
right. No.
Anybody know Charlie? Give him my number.
Right. Personally. Like, I follow him on every platform. Come on now.
I know. But I'm just like, and he's an old man too. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, it's that brain. It's that brain thing for me. Like,
It is. Oh my gosh.
Well, on that, thank you all for being here. I'm going to put on my awesome Black Mirror outro, and we will be back next Sunday. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We're going to keep it a secret. We'll let you know. We'll put the ad up.
We'll let you know.
Kim and I got to talk about what we're doing.
Yes.
We also, now that we're coming to the end of the series, I got to tell you, more and more people want to do this with us.
Yes. We're excited.
And that's exciting for us because maybe we'll have 3 of us up here. I know Jack wants to do Men Against Fire with us.
Men Against Fire.
So we're not going to do that Sunday unless Jack is going to be here with us, or we'll do it during the week. We got to check with him on his schedule, but Jay wants to do one, and
Jay wants to do one.
I've been meeting with a few other people that have expressed some interest. That there's some Brooker fans out there. So
there are.
If you're a Brooker fan, contact us because we got a few episodes left. We still have Bandersnatch, and we're possibly looking at some of the older ones.
We are. We're thinking about maybe revisiting some.
Mm-hmm. And then do a best of episode.
A best of, yes.
Let's go to Candy Mountain, Charlie. Ooh.
Oh.
Rodent. On that, I'm going to say goodnight. Good night, Kim. Good night, everyone in chat. Good night, YouTube. Don't forget to do the YouTube things. Like, comment. And if you haven't subscribed, don't
ring Claire's bell.
If you are watching, ring my bell, please. Please ring my bell. Definitely go and subscribe. Okay. Why not, right? Why not?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.